clarified on NAWEC. The report is not directly talking about electricity, it's about water production, the water quality that we consume, and the consistency in terms of supply. So that is why we need to understand. And most of the people that are contributing are touching a lot about electricity. This is water bias and about and social security. So I will start with honorable member from Woolley East who talked about the issue of service production, service provision. But I want to inform you, the 14 state-owned enterprises that are under our purview have a commercial dimension, therefore they are due to pay dividends. So dividend payment is mandatory because that service is not free. Government access that service at affordable prices. Because of that one, the enterprising component, the profit that is maximized should be paid to the central government. And that is one of their key common issues. You talk about Bonto by water production. So quite appalling if you look at their situation. I just want to emphasize Honorable Opasalum's statement, 2021, we gave 36 million to YEARThursday to take YEARThursday from analog to digital. But during the discussion, we were made to understand the transmitters board have two dimensions since the country is not completely digital. So the transmitters they board can play the role of analog and digital. But still, that is why in our recommendation, we made it crystal clear. Going forward, the equipment that they are going to buy must be digital so that the digitalization process can be completed. Though it is not easy, but some of these ones are ongoing. They are also captured in our resolution that we expect the finance minister to table. With Upper Salum, the issue of, if you look at this particular area, if you read it, the power station you're talking about, for this one in terms of finance, but we are not even aware whether the government is subventing them. But that's a news to us, and we'll look at this thing. Eliasa, the higher stage of electricity, we were dealing with the water, not the electricity. Serakunda West talk about the digitalization process. I think this is very important and it's a concern for everybody. And that is why we have to look at it, how much. There are even this OIC, there were a lot of allocation for YEARThursday in order to cover. But the digitalization has been prioritized, and they are working on a strategic plan to make sure that this digitalization is completed. Sanamenteng, I can't agree more with you when it comes to the issue of security. Some of these boreholes that we are consuming from, like there are areas where the borehole, the iron content is very, very key. And if you look at it without the chlorination, it is always going to be a problem. And that is why we recommend going forward, they have to emphasize, are doing it continuously. So, but we know that this is going to be completed. If you come to Fajara end, there are a lot of problems. The nitrate, that is why the 3 boreholes in Fajara have been decommissioned and they are getting their source from Sukuta. You go to Gunjur, the 2 boreholes are decommissioned, they're getting from Busuranding. Bansang is the problem right now, and they're really working very hard to look at the model in Janjambure that is also on the water bank, but the quality is so good that the most unfortunate part of it, the night security, is a problem. And we have engaged NAWEC to engage the defense and security so that they can have armed security to protect this thing. But this is what people are consuming. So any small mistake that can cause a lot of havoc. So which they agreed and the process is on. Jara, West, you talk about the chlorination plant. That's what I made mention is ongoing. The perimeter fence, and in fact they have started constructing the perimeter fence. If you remember our community consultation in URR, Passe in particular, we visited Basse Area Council, the governor office. The issue of the dump site on Basse water, that has been a thing of the past. It has been resolved by now. But what is happening there is a security. There are 2 boreholes. The borehole you're talking about that is also used as a dump site. So the security cannot do, the volume of the people that come and do it there, and the area council. And that is why we have engaged the area council intensively, but they are able to resolve it now. Because we are not even comfortable putting dump site, especially liquid waste. If it goes down, it can affect the borehole, and may God forbid, that can be very dangerous. So thank God now that has been resolved. The issue of the perimeter fence, this is ongoing. They have a team, now they have a team that is really working on both Basse and that of Soma. In fact, Soma, we laid emphasis, because where the boreholes are, these are in Mansa Congo, and they have to be paying dividend. That is a core mandate for them. The strategic operation, which is very, very key. And we've been looking at this thing, and this is a very good recommendation that engaging them will be requesting these things, so that whatever decision we are going to take will be in conformity with the strategic operation. Yes, the issue of, most of them emphasize about the issue of electricity. As I told you, this was informed by the performance audit on them on water production. So we don't mention about the lighting. But in our resolution, the lighting is adequately taken care of, and we expect the minister to come and respond to those resolutions, the level of implementation. On that note, I want to thank each and every one of you who were here and take part in the debate. It has really enriched our discussion. And finally, I cannot forget about the able lieutenant who does the clerical job and gave us a lot of advice when it comes to procedural issues. And thanks to them, this report has been generated. We thank the committee and their director and the office of the clerk. Thank you so much.
Janjamure will lay the report for and on behalf of the committee.
Started. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to seize this opportunity to also thank my colleague committee members under the Select Committee of Agriculture and Rural Development. However, the chairperson should have been doing this, but again, he traveled out for other commitments, so I step in to take you through this very important report, which, with our monitoring, which we started from the 29th of January to the 4th of February 2024. So I may not really take you through the whole report, since we all have a copy of the report, so I'll be just looking at certain points that might be crucial to our work. I would start with the acknowledgement, which I would definitely take you through with the intro of the report. The Select Committee, that is the acknowledgement, the Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development sincerely appreciates the magnanimous gesture accorded mandate outlined in Section 109 of the 1997 Constitution. The National Assembly Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development conducted a 7-day tour from the 29th to the 4th of February 2024. This comprehensive field visit is aimed at evaluating the status of regional directorates and institutions under the Ministry of Agriculture by engaging directly with stakeholders across the diverse agricultural landscape of the Gambia. Through the first-hand immersions, the committee sought to achieve the following key objectives. 1, assess the ground level of information on how they operate at the grassroots. 2, foster collaborative solutions in open dialogue with regional officials, facilitating the exchange ideas and collaborative problem solving. 3, develop actionable recommendations based on the information gathered, ultimately aiming to enhance the ministry's service delivery and program implementation. This report represents Member Honorable Sheni Jawara, Member Honorable Biram J.S. Sow, Member Ms. Alari Glenn, Committee Clerk, Mr. Ibrahim Ba, Communication Officer, Ms. Ami Barrow, Research Officer, Mr. Lamin Ellis Job, Subject Matter Specialist, Dr. Amadou Sow, Subject Matter Specialist, Mr. Alpha A. Jallo, Subject Matter Specialist, and Yaya Sedi. The findings we conducted led us to various regions, and to start with, I want to start with the Central River Region North. Based on the information provided by the Regional Agricultural Directorate, the following are some of the key findings that were made in the field in the course of our finding. One was for rice as a staple food. The other one was groundnut and maize cultivation. The other point was project interventions and developments. We also looked at collaborations with the respective sectors in the agricultural sector. I'll take you through the recommendations for CRR North, then the rest you can follow by yourselves. Recommendations for sustainable growth. To unlock the full agricultural potential of CRR North and ensure food security, this report proposes several key recommendations. One is investing in land development. Two is rehabilitating irrigation infrastructure around CRR North. Three is providing essential machinery, bird control measures such as the use of suitable crop varieties and bird scaring techniques to minimize crop damage. Let's look at CRR South. Partners like Wacom with their regional staffs. Also, the other partner or the other collaborators we also engaged was with the WFP and also with the local community gardens that provide school farms, visions, also mobility for some of the workers, also the change in weather, more specifically the issue of climate change was also observed. Production was also one other challenge that were highlighted, that is around limited plowing services, inadequate seeds, inadequate water supply system for gardens, also extension services delivery. There are also indications that there were insufficient staffing for the officials of Ministry of Agriculture, more especially in CRR South. Mixed farming centers are also faced with some challenges, more especially around some of the structures that they have, which it's been highlighted that they really need an urgent attention. Also, marketing and processing was also highlighted as a key challenge that the farmers in CRR South are facing. Recommendations. One is to implement contingency plans to mitigate high staffing attrition rate, implement integrated pest control and management strategies, encourage public-private sector partnership, upgrade irrigation and storage facilities, and provide resources for sustainable vegetable trade. And these are some of the things that our observations led us to. And I would allow you to go through, not to waste time, and I will take you through the recommendations that we put across. One is to ensure timely and affordable inputs. Two is to invest farm machinery. Three is to prioritize post-harvest infrastructure. Four is to develop marketing strategies. Five is to address the Regional Agricultural Directorate resource constraint. Very similar, more especially with staffing and also availability of other resources. The other region we visited, or the monitoring led us to, was in the Upper River region. Observations made. to propel the Upper River region's agricultural sector towards greater boosting income and food security. One reason why we made this recommendation is to help the Ministry of Agriculture to engage farmers on year-round rice cultivation, and this can be only achieved if some of these irrigation channels are being rehabilitated. So this is why our recommendation actually captured that. The next region we visited was West Coast region, and in West other institutions that are affiliated to agriculture, but also challenges were registered, and they are as follows. One was, while the overall season brought cheer, some hurdles also remains to crops, particularly melon and maize. I think these are few of the challenges that the people of West Coast are faced with. Also, on vegetable production in the West Coast region is a year-round activity. This ensures a consistent supply to fresh produce. Formation took center stage due to its lucrative market value. TARUT, an NGO partnership with the Regional Directorate to establish FFS on onions, that is farmer field schools. These schools equip farmers with best practices for improved yield, quality, and ultimate income generations. They also have their field activities. I think I would leave that in your hands to really go through. Some of the projects that we have within the Ministry of Agriculture. One is the Roots project. They also engage in diverse projects around the West Coast region and the country at large. We also have GAPS that are also projects that are also targeting the rice growers, more especially around the value chain. We also interacted with project staffs of Giraffe, who are also contributing immensely in the area of youth and women garden growers. Challenges in the West Coast region. One, it says insufficient fuel allocation. With our engagement with the officials of the Ministry of Agriculture at the West Coast Directorate, one of the key things that actually surfaces was insufficient fuel allocation. Like region size, they also complaining that the region, that is West Coast region, seems to be very big, and they recommended that if it can be downsized or be divided into two or so. Also, lack of post-harvest machinery, that is the availability of tracing machines and other post-harvest processing equipments are really scarce, and they're appealing if we can support in any way as a parliament. Also, water shortage is also another challenge. Poor office infrastructure, West Coast region, and I think this is applied to other regional directorates according to our finding. I think one of the directorates, even we had an engagement, was in the Lower River region, where a director will dip his hand in his own pocket to buy cash power in order for the office to be operational. So I want to suggest to this plenary that still the Ministry of Agriculture would need more of support from our end, especially around made as a committee. Regional division, that is to consider dividing West Coast region into two agriculture. In our productions, we are suggesting that we still need to invest more in acquiring the right tools and machines to give us a yield productivity. Also, borehole drilling for women gardeners is also one challenge that actually surfaced, and in our recommendation, we thought it wise to bring it forward to help these gardeners to get boreholes in the future through the Department of Agriculture to work around kind of clearly defining what some of their staffs would need to do in terms of their roles and responsibilities. We visited was NARI, that is the National Agricultural Research Institute. in the Gambia. The committee observed the following key findings. Evaluation of 47 improved lines. Researchers assessed 47 new groundnut lines for their yield, potential resistance on pests and diseases, and adaptability to local conditions. 29 lines shows positive resistance to early leaf spot, highlighting their potential value for farmers. ICGV 2216447 emerged as the highest yielding line.
Honorable Member, please summarize.
Okay, Speaker. Also with NARI, I think I will leave the rest for us to look at. They also look at organic and inorganic fertilizer impact on tomato. Also with organic fertilizer, there were emphasis by NARI that the parliament need to support them with a better allocation wherein the ministry can look into improving on that aspect. Let's look at integrated pest management, that is from NARI. I think the rest of NARI I can leave it. The recommendations actually with NARI, I think it will be important we look at that. Increasing funding for NARI research and development activities, particularly in areas with high potential impact like drought-resistant crops and sustainable pest management. The other recommendation was enhanced collaboration between NARI and other stakeholders, continued investment in capacity building, further support for NARI efforts to develop and promote climate-smart agriculture practices were also highlighted in our recommendation. I also want to take you through the Department of Agriculture. There's tranche 1, it says extension activities. Tranche, I will allow you to look at that, and also the input distribution, I would allow you to look at that. Then I will take you through the challenges and as well as the recommendations. One of the challenges that are faced by the Department of Agriculture is dilapidated infrastructure across the mixed farming centers, offices, residents, and requires rehabilitation. And I think some of us could be a living witness. If you go to the department at Bakau, you realize that the director himself in his very office during the rainy season, he always have to move with his decks in order to avoid rain intruding his office. So they definitely need a support. Limited budget, so that would also help to address some of the issues they have in their office. Decentralization. This element is very, very important, because whatever we are trying to do for the Ministry of Agriculture, us as a committee believe that the life of rural farmers definitely matters, and as such, we want to see the full implementation of the agricultural policy. Also, mobility have been a concern. Infrastructure have also been coming up. Also, staff turnover have been in input distribution programs. Ministry of Agriculture should allocate resources for rehabilitating the mixed farming centers, offices, and as well as their residents. Support full implementation of the national extension laboratories around the country and maintain institutional knowledge. We understand that most of the staffs within the Ministry of Agriculture would always go for secondment to some of these existing projects. And in order to avoid that, we need to come up with mechanisms to help retain some of these staffs in, within the Ministry of Agriculture as the parent institution. Also further develop the horticulture technical service unit's role in training and extension for improved vegetable production and diversification. explore partnerships and opportunities to attract funding for infrastructure improvement and resource acquisition, collaborate with Ministry of Agriculture to allocate for increased budget allocation and policy challenges that address identified challenges. Honorable Speaker, with these few remarks, I would like to take my seat and also to thank members of my committee.
Any seconder? Member for Woolies?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to second the report, the motion. Honorable Speaker, I will want to make further comment, my 3 minutes comment on this. Let me thank the committee for a great job. This is not easy, going across the country to all these project sites to be already mature. So if you harvest it, rain can come into it. Before, they used to make a platform and then put the granite on top, and then when the rain comes, it goes down. But now, if you want to do that, you have to go and harvest the forest, which is also a problem for us environmentally. So post-harvest, really, we need to look at that very seriously. Honorable Speaker, we have provided, I could remember in the 5th Assembly, I think it's 100 million to agriculture to look at the most pressing area so that they can come up with programs or even projects to see. Most there was, for example, storage. So, we need to really look at that to ensure that that is revitalized again at the mixed farming centers, and mixed farming centers should also spread, to everywhere. Like in Wildy, there is no mixed farming center. So we need to have a mixed farming center. Yes, seriously, it's not there. Honorable Speaker, I implore on the committee to make a follow-up on specific projects. When you say giraffe, we need to know what they should provide to the beneficiaries. A, B, C, D, and D. Has that happened? If it did not happen, F did not happen, A has happened, but F did not happen, and we remind them that these things should happen. Otherwise, the beneficiaries lose. We say 60% goes to the beneficiary. I think 40% goes to the beneficiary, and 60%.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report of the National Assembly Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development to regional directorates and other institutions under the Ministry of Agriculture. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to take part in the debate may do so by show of tag. Beginning with the member for Olyundum and Deputy Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I first of all want to thank the committee for this well-crafted report. Of course, it's not an easy task. Going around the country and then, visiting all the agricultural sites and then presenting a report in Parliament is a daunting task. However, I just wanted to go straight to the report. I don't have much issues with the report, though. Like I used to say, I am not a farmer. I come from the urban center. But that doesn't mean I don't have a problem with farming. So, Honorable Speaker, one of the things I saw is affordability of fertilizer affordability. And even though government is subsidizing fertilizer for farmers in the provinces, like the committee went on a tour, I know most of the farmers also will realize that these fertilizers used to leave the borders of the country. Do they report it? I think the committee also need to delve into that, because farmers also need to be responsible. If they see anybody taking the fertilizer outside the borders, they should be able to report the matter. But most of them will now connive with these people to smuggle the fertilizer, and then they sell it outside the country, and yet we still come here and say we don't have fertilizer. It's not affordable.
I think we need to look at that. The other thing also I've seen is the issue of, is a continuity. I remember in the 5th legislature, the then minister came here and said they have resources to do some roads in some of the constituencies. I thought the committee was going to look at that also in any of the region that benefit or constituency that benefited from that. Where are those roads? Have they been constructed? Are they there? Yes. At least they have constructed 2 roads in Upper Salum. We need to understand that in the 5th legislature, at least money was given or projects were approved for the Minister of Agriculture to do all that. But if the report is not showing it, means nothing has happened at all, even in the 5th legislature. So I think we also need to look at that trend when we go back again. We look at what has happened before and what is supposed to happen afterward. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Deputy Majority Leader. Member for Same, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. Thank you very much, committee members, SMS, and the support staffs. Honorable Speaker, you know, anytime we talk about agriculture, we must not forget about animals. We must not forget. And Honorable Speaker, this committee take it upon themselves. They meet all the directors. But if you look at their report, it was only centered on crops, only on provide them drinking points and other things. But that did not feature in this report. I thought that they should have asked them about so and so project. What did they do to those communities? Or in your engagement, did you contact the farmers? Did you have time with the farmers and ask them about some of their constraints that they face? Or you only concentrate on the directors and other personnel? Honorable Speaker, when we look at the report, there are so many challenges. As the Honorable Member for Woolly West stated, in those days, you have Woolly West. Woolly East. In those days, there are a lot of, extension workers. A lot that assist the farmers as to how they can do farming properly. But go to rural areas now. If it is there, it's very few. And even our animals go there. The livestock assistance is very few in certain communities. And those ones are there to help the farmers when the animals have problems. So these are issues. Mobility, as you said, those things are there. You go to some of the feed stores, they're dilapidated. These are some of the constraints that most farmers face. But, Honorable Speaker, I want to tell the committee that anytime they are going out agriculture, they must not forget about
Thank you. Member for Combo East, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I must commend the Committee for Agriculture for their report. Honorable Speaker, I need some clarity here. Having taken reference of the previous report that was laid before us by the PEC Committee, the headings, the topic of the report has just stated, as it has repeated itself here in this report, that the report for this Select Committee on Agriculture and Rural Development on the tour to evaluate the status of the regional directorates and institutions under the Ministry of Agriculture. Having seen this topic, read this topic, getting into the body of the entire report, it has just bring in some areas of confusion wherein my deliberations in this report, where would I refer myself to? But coming into this, we were expecting this report to highlight the structures of these regional directorates and the institutions within those various regions, and their functions and their roles, primary roles to this, and what effect, what are the performances that they are going through, and how can we be able to gauge them as a parliament to be able to tax them and put them on their mandate to make sure that they serve effectively the people that they are being deployed to. Honorable Speaker, besides that, I would just give my own take in the institutions and the directorates of these agricultural directorates, especially in the West Coast. Honorable Speaker, it is good to note, it will be very important to know, farmers are not very acquainted with these directorate offices, and these offices are meant for farmers. The other institutions that are attached within the directorates, especially within West Coast, farmers didn't know the benefits and the effects and the presence of these institutions that you've listed, like the roots, and so very few farmers are afraid to know about these establishments and their effect and their uses. So I was expecting this report to be very investigative, to be able to give in points wherein the Honorable House would be banking on to make sure that know what are the progresses of these departments of agriculture and their directorates. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you. The member for Jara Central, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would also equally thank the mover of the motion, and then would equally thank again the members of the committee, the clerks who accompanied the committee, the subject matter specialists. Honorable Speaker, I will take you to page 11 of the report. Honorable Speaker, on page 11, the committee have indicated some challenges, and under their observation on page 11, Honorable Speaker, we can see that the committee, when they visited North Bank region, they were able to find out that fertilizer affordability is a very big problem and is a major hurdle. Honorable Speaker, fertilizer, the way they distribute fertilizer, Honorable Speaker, is very cumbersome, because if you look at it, like that of in LRR, the whole of LRR, if you want fertilizer, you had to come to Quinala or Genoa. Now, the people of my constituency, Jar Central, along the corridor, the Kabada corridor, let's say a village from Sasita, a villager from Sasita, a farmer, you want to move from Sasita, come down to Genoa to purchase fertilizer, or if at all the fertilizer is finished there, you need to paddle or board a car, come down to Quinala to purchase a bag of fertilizer or 5 bags of fertilizer. Honorable Speaker, this is a very big challenge. I think I commend the committee for coming up with a problem like this. They also highlighted farm machinery issues. I think in as much as we want to do away with subsistence farming, to graduate from subsistence farming to commercialization farming, we need also to focus on producing or supplying farm machineries, simple farm machineries, before we can get the actual number of tractors and power tillers we need. The former cooperative union used to do it. They will purchase plowing machines, sowing machines, and then distribute them to farmers who are not able to use tractors. So, on that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to take my seat and then thank the mover of the motion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The member for Kama South, you have the floor. Member for Tumonna, you have the floor. Member for Fonya Councillor, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I thank the committee for this visit to Rural Directorate or institutions under the Ministry of Agriculture. Honorable Speaker, if you go to page 6 of the report, it says rice as a staple food. And also, they've illustrated some of the hindrances in which it has also contributed to the downfall of rice cultivation, ranging from limited land development restrictions for the year and also dilapidated irrigation infrastructure, incomplete land development. Honorable Speaker, when you go to their recommendation, looking at the first recommendation, invest in the land development by complete ongoing activities and prioritizing further development in identifying areas. There's no timeline specifically. We want also the committee to improve in this timeline on that is vague. We may not know how are they going to do this because there's no timeline specified. If you also go to 2, rehabilitating irrigation infrastructure. In rice production zones, it is essential for efficient water control and management of conservation. Also no timeline. Honorable Speaker, as I do tell members, I think it's high time for us to pass a motion in this parliament that we transfer Minister of Agriculture to SAPO. We transfer the entire Ministry of Agriculture to SAPO. So if we are talking of food self-sufficiency, and now when we also talk of farming tools, it's a challenge in this age and time. So I believe that the committee had went and see for themselves and also feel that it is impossible. Whatever we are calling food self-sufficiency, when even land, availability of land is a challenge. Mechanical apparel is a challenge. And also strategies that should be put in place is a big challenge. You're talking of certain department areas where they even have CASPA or even mobility. It's a challenge for them. What can they inform us? Honorable Speaker, you've also talked about the extension services. They talk about some of the challenges in which training is a challenge for extension workers. Staffing also, retention is also a challenge. Most of the people do go onto projects. So it means projects are more lucratively paid than the department that they are. So they are looking for greener pasture. So I believe so. We'll only make gains when we change the narrative of Minister of Agriculture. I therefore thank you.
Thank you. Member for Kiang West, you have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, I just want to ask ourselves, honorable members, looking at recommendation 1, members, this question goes to us. The recommendation is explore partnership and opportunities to attract funding for further investment in input distribution programs. Page 24. How long are we going to approve loans and grants for Ministry of Agriculture in this very parliament? And at the end of the day, they become failed projects. How long are we going to do that, members of parliament? Do we question about the name of project? What was the impact of this name of project? Do we question about the giraffe project? Do we question about the roots project? How far have they gone with these projects? Honorable Speaker, staffing issue should not be a problem at Ministry of Agriculture. At the Department of Agriculture, department whose staffs are leaving the department on secondment for projects that are under the same ministry and leave those institutions redundant. We are still complaining about staffing. The minister is there who serves as a watchdog for the president and seeing that happening. Are we going to say, let's take State House to support so that president can work for citizens? No. What is the purpose of decentralization? What is the purpose of local governments and the governor's offices? What is the purpose of the directorates that we have at the regional directorates? What are they doing? No, we cannot have Minister of Agriculture at Sapo. It doesn't make sense. We have the directorates. That is the purpose of decentralization. What is the intent of decentralization? They should represent the ministry at the various directorates. Honorable Speaker, we cannot continue. There is no, your policies are influenced. Your policies are determined by foreign donors. There is no free money for any country in the world. Agriculture must be serious in implementing policies, in implementing monies that are appropriated in this parliament, loans that are signed in this parliament, grants that are signed in this parliament on behalf of the citizens of this country. We cannot continue to sign any loan on their behalf or grants if they don't give us productivity.
Member for Upper Salem, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll just connect from where my brother from Kiang West actually has just ended, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the reasons why we have this regional directorates is really very clear. They need to take up their responsibility and we must understand the objective of their creations in those regions. What are they there for? We need to understand that. Are they live up to the billing? We need to understand that. Honorable Speaker, if you look at agriculture, and I think for the most part, we've been crying for the high cost of living in this country, particularly essential commodities. But the agricultural ministry is still unable to provide for us. How many projects do we actually have in the ministry? How many grants actually have we agreed here for the past 7 or 10 years? How many laws still for the Ministry of Agriculture? What exactly are we trying to do here? And I think we need to be really very clear, and we need to also put everything down and ensure that we put everybody accountable for what we are doing. Honorable Speaker, if you look at I'll just be very specific in the Sierra North, where I came from. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to ask the question to this directorate, what is the size of the available farmland in Sierra North? What percentage of that land is being utilized right now as we speak? We need to understand. Honorable Speaker, if you go to Upper Salem, and I think I've said this many times, Honorable Speaker, we have farmlands ready for rice cultivation. But the problem we have is not even about machines. No, it's about the road to the rice field. It's about salt intrusion. But you talk to them, they're not even mentioning about anything about that. What are they there for in Sierra North? You look at Upper Salem again, we have the Hansiru farms in Bati. You know that area. Goes towards Nyanija. You go to the farms in Daru, in Farbu, farmland in Jare. You go to Bantanto, where we also have the Pakalawaf, where we have the Dandasalas. But they seem not to understand where are they. And these are easy farmlands. The only thing we need is just road to go there and farm. We don't ask for anything else, Honorable Speaker. But yet still we have them in those regions, Sierra North, doing what? I do not understand. Honorable Speaker, I think we need to commend the committee for going there, trying to find out exactly what are they doing. And I think they need to take it up further to ensure they understand the available farmlands in those areas and what exactly are they doing with them. You will see a surprise, I can tell you. Honorable Speaker, if you look at their recommendations also, I think it's very clear. Now, before we talk about lack of mobility, I mean, how many vehicles do they have? What is the inventory? How many motor vehicles do they have? What is the state of those vehicles? Before you talk about, I don't have a vehicle. Hey, agriculture is not, we don't need vehicle for agriculture. What we need is machines, what we need is road, what we need is irrigation, not motor vehicles. We are in upcountry here. Our roads are not actually good. What are you going to do with a motor vehicle? What we need. Somebody connect and move on.
A member for Lower Bodebu, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll go straight to the point. I have a different perspective on the situation of agriculture in the Gambia. Honorable Speaker, agriculture used to be the backbone of our economy during the days of Jawara. And some of the challenges which were highlighted here were existing at that time. Yet still, agriculture was doing good. Honorable Speaker, we have more access to farming, modern farming tools presently as compared to the days of Jawara. Yet still, we could not achieve what we are looking for. Let us ask ourselves this question. What is the problem? Why is it that agriculture was doing well during the days of Jawara as compared to
our own days. And some of the challenges which are highlighted here, like I said before, we are existing at that time. Mobility was not an issue at that time. There were, of course, extension workers, and I believe still extension workers are there. These are the people that, of course, we are linking, that we are the link between the farmers and, of course, agriculture. Why is it that we are facing food insufficiency in our country? Let us ask ourselves these questions. I believe the government should inject more or try to encourage farmers. Farmers are not encouraged in this country. Could you imagine a bag of fertilizer, $1,000? How many of our farmers can have access to $15,000 at this point in time of the year, when we are already in the rainy season? And during the President State of Nation address, he said the government is going to purchase 150 tractors to the farmers. Already we are in the rainy season. These tractors will have been distributed 2-3 months before rainy season. If we are serious about farming in our country, I believe we should do more in order to drive hunger from our country. If we don't concentrate on agriculture, there is nothing that is going to be positive for us, because lack of food is something serious. If people don't have food, what do you think they can do? And this is what is confronting our people. Honorable Speaker, on that note, I will get to take my seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, member for Talending Kunjang.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I think that this is why all the more reason we should look at time limits. Most of members were on very important points, but couldn't finish due to time. Now, because agriculture is very important. It deals with our livelihood, our existence as a nation. To be free from all what others are saying depends on our success on agriculture. And I want to highlight the committee. I see some kind of something I couldn't understand in one aspect, because most speakers talk about projects. And then even the attrition, I wouldn't want to belabor too much on that, but there must be strong recommendation. You don't expect the ministry to come with programs. I think it has to do with policies. Like if somebody goes on, there's not supposed to be any secondment. People have skills to offer to projects. They can leave the job they are occupying and go and offer service to projects. While another Gambian, potential Gambian, occupies those space. But they cannot go on projects where it's like somebody securing their appointments for them as a secondment. That's very unfair to people who are seeking to gives offer service to government. So that would tell us that those contributions as a parliament is really taking the agricultural sector to another level with storage facilities, not in the course of this monitoring period, but prior to this, when we visited some of the regions, we understand that Upper River region is been given a storage facility through the Roots project, which is situated somewhere, I cannot really remember the village, but URR benefited, and that particular storage facility is meant for the entire region. Also with extension workers, this is one thing that we're really looking at, because we believe the only time we can move agriculture to another level is to invest on the extension workers to ensure that almost every other village has an extension worker. But then we will still continue to engage the Ministry of Agriculture to double up. You have also talked about our follow-ups with specific projects like Giraffe, Roots, and the like. Yes, we have been having engagements with them, not even only on the store, but on separate engagements to look at what impact they're making on our communities, more especially with our farming communities. And I believe as time takes, we will really get to where we want to be. For all Yundum, you have talked about the affordability of fertilizer and also selling it beyond our borders. There are serious engagements with the Ministry of Agriculture, and I want to believe that just 2 or 3 days ago there was a pronouncement from the government of the day announcing that no fertilizer should be moved beyond our borders, and if anyone is found wanting would face the full fledged of the law. So I think that's what we can do, and I'm also happy that the ministry is taking it upon themselves. He has talked about access to farmlands. Yes, these have been a challenge for almost every other farming community, but also we're working tirelessly with the Ministry of Agriculture to look at land development as a way to promote productivity. Also with Sane have highlighted about the issue of livestock. This particular report is strictly looking at the directorates and the Ministry of Agriculture in order to evaluate what they have been doing. So there is nothing about livestock. With Combo East, he has raised concerns for we to define the project scopes for him, and as well as the roles and responsibility of our regional agricultural directorates. And with our regional agricultural directorates, their rules are very simple. Their rules are to coordinate, supervise, and facilitate matters relating to
agricultural activities in their respective regions or in our respective region. Lower Jara East, which we believe is of importance. You have talked about farm machineries that people are shifting.
Honorable Member, your time is up. Yes, you have. Can you wind up within 20 seconds, please?
That's too small, Honorable. I'm not a devil. So I may wish to respond to every other member on your observations, but time wouldn't really allow to adopt this report, one, but then also to appeal to this August Assembly for we to...
Under the Ministry of Agriculture. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. That is have it. Thank you.
Board by the Honorable Chairperson of the committee.
Honorable members will recall that the Petitions Committee tabled this report during the first ordinary session of the Assembly in the 2024 legislative year. However, the Assembly could not adopt the report during the said sitting and referred back the document to the committee to further look into the petitions and possibly draw a resolution for the consideration of the Assembly. Now, fast forward to this current session. Precisely on Thursday, 11 July 20, the report and resolution scheduled for the Assembly. Honorable Member, please table your report.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And read the resolutions again, but only to...
Please, Honorable Member, go ahead, please.
If anybody wants to make an intervention there, you will be able to come make your contribution. In terms of the resolution, if you want me to read it again, I can read it again, so that you...
The resolution, you can just make your submission.
Now is to allow the members to make their interventions. They can raise their questions, and then at the end of the day, I can make some clarifications. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Any second then? Member for Latikunda Sabiji.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I thank the Tourism Committee for the wonderful job. Oh, petition. Thank you very much. Because I'm seeing GT board, I'm so emotionally attached to what I'm seeing in front of me. Let's go by your recommendations. Number one, I seconded the motion before I proceed, actually. I'm just reminded. Where you mention Mr. Usainu Changor must be reprimanded by the Ministry of Tourism for misguiding the contract committee members by giving a wrong analysis of the financial performance, which eventually affected scoring of the evaluation process. The word reprimand, if you look at contractual arrangements, you look at award of contracts, you will realize that the performance, the negligent act, the omission or dishonesty of Mr. Usainu Changor, in fact, led to the failure of Eco Lodge projects. Honorable Speaker, why I say this? If we intend to give contracts, we send requests for proposal or request for quotation. By way of request for quotation and proposal, we put their qualifications, that is administrative compliance, technical compliance, and financial compliance. Based on these three qualifications as per bidding documents, contractors or suppliers now respond to this request for proposal or request for quotation on these three qualifications. If Mr. Hussein Senghor can mislead an entire committee, and I'm sure the committee based their evaluation based on the financial statement gave by Mr. Hussein Senghor. So why will the committee, somebody who performed a criminal act, can only be reprimanded? That is to tell the person, you are a very good person, but don't do this again. You have not been doing this again, don't do this again. That's how you reprimand people. People who this Hussein Senghor doesn't deserve to be reprimanded. He should be recommended for prosecution. Now, if you go to where you said that the Gambia Tourism Board must be reprimanded for allocating.
Yeah, you are the second. Can you finish, please?
Yeah, put my mic on, please. Thank you very much.
No,
yes,
let me just make this clear.
Okay.
You know, the movers, if you move a motion or you table, you have most of the time to do that. But when you second, you are limited. You are not a mover of the motion. No, not here. If it is a settled practice, I am departing from that practice. But I give you extra time to finish.
Now, I want to say more. Let me leave myself to where you said the Gambia Tourism Board must be reprimanded. How do you reprimand a body corporate? You must remove the veil and go for the principal actors in the corporation that are criminally liable. You cannot reprimand GT board. How do you reprimand a body corporate? So therefore, we need to remove the veil and go for the people who are criminally liable, not the GPP as an institution. When you go further, where you said number 5, the GT board must pay the supplier for the materials they will need without any further delay, and there should be an additional changes in the design. This recommendation is not a good recommendation. You don't even understand what you write here. Because for me, every contract that is not performed well must have variation. How do you reconcile the variation to the performance of the previous contractor? So that one, the recommendation is not a proper one. It's not proper at all. You also said the contractor must provide evidence of a payment of VAT, of FPAC on the amount that has been disbursed to him on or before. Why do we need to go for the contract? Why can't we go to GRA to supply us with that fact? You cannot go to the contractor. The contractor might not disclose those facts to you. So go to your government institution, could the GRA to supply you that particular information. Last but not the least, why are we also very lenient for a Gambia Tourism Board to be supplying fuel coupon to a particular ministry or minister, and we can only say that the GPPA, the Gambia Procurement Authority, no, that's your last recommendation. The minister should also, that the GT board must immediately stop fuel supply to the minister. In fact, it's not the ministry mentioned, but the minister and procurement secretary, Minister of Tourism and Culture on a weekly basis. The minister and these principal officers of the ministry should pay. You should calculate how much fuel coupon was given to them from the inception until the last, and they should be liable. They should pay everything back. They should not only stop, the Gambia Tourism Board should stop, but they should also make sure the particular ministry, the particular minister and all the principal officers mentioned in this report to pay everything back to the GP board, back to the national coffers. Thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded that this Honorable Assembly do consider the report and resolution of the National Assembly Petitions Committee on the petitions from concerned staff of the Gambia Tourism Board. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Any honorable member who wishes to partake in the debate may do so by show of turn, beginning with the honorable member for Janjambure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much to the mover of the motion. To start with, I would have expected the chair of the said committee to address the outgoing minister for going before the public to question the credibility of your committee and this very report before us. And I would expect you to do that before the end of the day today. However, Honorable Speaker, I want us to look at how lands are allocated around the tourism development area. And in your resolution on page 3 on land allocation, one, it says the IGP must investigate the land issued to Mount Capital as a lease was acquired by the investor before paying the 5% levy. I want to believe that the committee already knew how that transaction was done. So I wouldn't really expect them to further ask either GPPA or the IGP to give them more information. What should have happened was to come up with actions that would help to address this specific problem, not to repeat itself. Also on staff employment matters, on page 2, it says that the Select Committee on Tourism and Ombudsman must monitor and ensure that all staff deployed and wrongfully terminated, dismissed as a result of the petition are recalled to the head office. I want to inform this August Assembly and the committee that the staffs that are affected couldn't really resume back to work, and also there is an appeal before the court by the Gambia Tourism Board. Instead of taking up an action, they are still battling the matter before the court. So that also needs to be looked into and ensure that there is sanity on the matter. Also on number 3 on page 2, the Auditor General must institute staff auditing to commence from January 2017 to December 2013 to ascertain the way and manner appointment and promotions are done. I think these are already clear to us. We know how employments used to take place at the Gambia Tourism Board and how promotions are done. What I would have recommended would be those that were affected for them to be reinstated to their rightful positions, but then not otherwise. I think my time is up.
Thank you. Member for Bakau, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And I thank the mover of the motion together with his committee members. Honorable Speaker, I have an observation that I want to share with honorable members as well as the committee members. On staff matters, on staff employment matters, where they stated that the Select Committee on Tourism and the Office of the Ombudsman must monitor and ensure that all senior staff employed are wrongfully terminated or dismissed as a result of the petition are recalled. I'm not very sure, but then I asked a hotel worker, at one time a hotel worker, we were once engaged or once had a problem with our management team, of which we were about to engage the Office of the Ombudsman. But when we approached the Office of the Ombudsman, we were told that their mandate does not cover hotels. So I'm not sure whether the committee have made any findings when it comes to the Office of the Ombudsman for interventions. Having said that, Honorable Speaker, on the GT Board Head Office Complex as well, we were all made to understand that the Tropic building was supposed to be an office to accommodate a GT Board together with the Office of the Ministry of Tourism.
But all of a sudden, we all realized that the hotel is now being used, the Tropic building is now being used as a shop. So with the recommendations, with the resolutions from the committee, it indicates that the IGP must investigate.
I didn't get that clear. The Tropic building,
yes,
belongs to government? Or?
No. It was supposed to accommodate the office of the GT board together with the Ministry of Tourism. But now the building is changed to shops. Are you with me?
Yeah, but I don't understand that.
The Tropic building.
Was it an agreement between government and the owners or what?
No, it was supposed to be accommodating the office of the GT board and the ministry. Now it's changed to a shop. Are you with me? Sorry?
I mean, go ahead. You should tell us who owns it.
Yes.
How was that reached at? And why that is not happening now?
This is what the resolution is saying now. I'm coming to the resolution, that the recommendation that comes from the committee, that the IGP must investigate initial contract of the head office of the GT board.
I think I used some of his time, not so. Yes, you can give him 1 more minute.
And Tropics and what have been signed on the new head office built by the contract company limited and report back to FPAC on or before the 1st of December. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Member for Serekunda West, you have the floor. Oh, yes, sorry, Member for Woolly East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I will want the members to, when they are making comments, let them mention the particular resolution, and if you mention the topic and then the resolution, then
the particular number, whether resolution number 9, resolution number 3, or resolution number 1. Please use your mic, sir.
Resolution number 1 of page 4. Yeah. On the GT board head office complex. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Member for Serekunda West, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, on resolution 4 on the ecologist contract, the committee's investigation shows that the state has really lost millions of dollars because the contract was given and then it was abandoned. I think the resolution there is valid, that it has to be investigated because these monies are taxpayers' money. So we cannot just allow it to go like that. Especially in millions, these millions can really do a lot for the state. So, but also we must also continue with actions, not only resolutions and leave them lying down there like that. Honorable Speaker.
Member for Serekunda West. The member for Woolly East. Order. The member for Woolly East, you ask members to ask questions and to propose suggestions, and that they are contributing, you are not listening to them. Please, member for Serekunda West, continue.
Yes, I was just saying, if I could repeat that, since his attention was I was saying your recommendation on the 4 on the ecology contracts is a valid recommendation, and it really has to be taken seriously. It is costing the state millions of dollars. Our economy is struggling. We are struggling with a very weak economy, so therefore every butut counts, especially if it is in the millions. And on number 6, on the same resolution on ecologists, where we said the whole contract went underperformed. So I would skip that because some speakers have touched on that. I go to you said that the Select Committee on Tourism and Ombudsman must monitor and ensure that all the senior staff deployed wrongfully must be. Any further activity of any committee can be affected because witnesses are not protected. If a witness can voluntarily give evidence, point them out. And last but not the least is on point 5 of the same ecologists, where recommendation 5 said the Ministry of Tourism must immediately desist from taking major decisions in the operations of the GT board without channeling it to the, I think we should discourage interference. If we have a...
Yeah, go ahead.
Instituted board, therefore I think the ministries, whichever ministry that is, should allow the boards to do their work without any interference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And honorable members, on witnesses, if your work, according to the Constitution and the standing orders, is to invite witnesses on a subject matter, and thereafter they are being victimized, I think the honorable members should look at that seriously, and that is against the Constitution. They must be protected as like any other witnesses before this assembly. I now give the floor to the member for Upper Salem.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, the chair of the committee. Now, if you look at these recommendations here, I think the first one was already mentioned by the member for Latrikunda, that the GT board into this all together. You've already spoken, the Committee on Tourism actually have already spoken to them. They've investigated, they have a report. Now, why do you want FPAC to come into the foray and have to start all over again? So I think the committee that make the report should have completed their work. So there's no need for FPAC to come into this thing here. Because if we do, we are starting from ground zero again. Do the investigation again. You've already spoken to the witnesses, and you knew exactly what has transpired. Just make a recommendation, and then we move. Now, on page 2, which is here about the payment of the VAT. Again, I don't think that's also very necessary. If we need to know whether they have paid or not, it's just a matter of asking GRA to give us evidence that they have paid VAT. Otherwise, we ask them to follow them and pay. So there is no need for us to, us to do that. Now, number 8, also, the FPAC must investigate GPPA's reason for approval of GT board. Again, why do you have to get FPAC into this again? You've done all the investigations. You've spoken to all the witnesses again. So I think it's the best committee is the Committee on Tourism that started the whole process, and let them continue the investigation together with, with the other one. Now, on number 10, henceforth, government must, if you want to debar a company, you've registered legally. You're doing business with the government legally. There's a process, a procedure to follow, as indicated by GPPA Act of 2022. The process of debarment must be done by GPPA. Let's be very specific. Let GPPA investigate, and if they found them wanting, they can be debarred. But that must be based on law, and that's on the GPPA Act. So we need to be really very careful. That's number 10. GPPA must investigate and debar them if there's a need on the layer group. Now, the last one also, on page 3, that is on land allocation in tourism, that the executive must set up an independent commission. Not the executive. You tell the president directly. Who are the executive? I mean, the executive comprises a lot of things. If you want the president to set up that, then you indicate the president. If you want the minister of tourism to do that, you indicate the minister of tourism. Let's be very specific. That is on number 1 on land allocation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Chair, I'm not sure if you are taking note of whether you will go back and look at those issues again or not. It's for the Assembly to decide, as suggested by the member for Serekunda West, Upper Salem, Latikunda. This was assigned to a committee, and the same committee want to throw it back to another committee again. Now, the member for Busumbala, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We commend the committee, petition committee, for this resolution. I will refer the chairman to resolution under the staff employment matters, resolution 5, that the Minister of Tourism must immediately desist from taking major decisions on the operation of the GT board without challenging it through the governing body. Yes, under this particular matter, I want to ask the chairman of the committee, who is the board chair of this governing body, and what is his position currently? What is it being sacked? Because there are informations that the person who is the chair of this body is also been sacked. Is that true? And if it is true, why? And who is responsible for his sacking? And this is very important because, it will ensure that proper procedures are taken before someone will be subjected to dismissal by an individual. Another resolutions on the land allocation in the tourism development, that resolution 4, that the IGP must investigate the last % levy. If the procedures are established for a particular requirement to be met before issuance of that document, and it has been flouted, it's a criminal act. And we will definitely, I'll concur with your recommendations, and we make a follow-up, the IGP to investigate this, because a 5% levy is for the development project within the tourism development areas. If you deprive them from that money, and they already have just a percentage of that money, and another percentage may be pocketed into the wrong hands or wrong pockets. So that need to be investigated so that we know if they did not pay all the 5%, there should be an enforcement for this 5% levy to be paid to the Tourism Development Board so that they can carry on other development. Another resolution on staff employment matters, the by other speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. The member for Pastor, you have the floor.
Withdraw.
The member for Standing Mentoring, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, there are a few things that I would like to talk about. But first, this is very, very important that when we deal with resolutions in this Parliament, resolutions are not implemented, and I don't know why. I am asking myself, and I hope other members will equally ask themselves why we have resolutions and we have recommendations, very important recommendations, and they are not implemented. No response from them. It's very, very important. Honorable Speaker, having said that, I will thank the committee for coming up with very good resolution regarding the report of their committee. And then also looking at the GT board head office complex contractual agreement. It was mentioned by an honorable member that there was a structure which the Minister of Tourism has to be using, but then instead it came the opposite way. And there is this thing, the IGP must investigate the initial contract of the head office of the GT board at the top tropics and what have been signed on the new head office built by the Construct Company Limited, and report back to FPAC on or before the 1st December. Yes, I agree. If this is really the case, by the investigation of the IGP, equally, we would like to know if this is true, that this building should have been utilized by a ministry and instead it became shops. We would want to know where that money, on which account that money is really going into. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, this is the points that I have observed. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Member for Fonyi Bintang Karanai, you have the floor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The recommendation of the committee is weak, but still we will go by what we have. On page 41, on conflict of interest at the GT board, the minister was asked whether he was aware of the conflict of interest that existed at the GT board. And also you look at the down part where the minister's son was also employed. I think that is clearly what we refer to as nepotism. There is no clear definition. There is no clear definition of nepotism that could be better than this. Now, for instance, before you come into a ministry, your son was not qualified to be in the ministry. Now you are there, that is the time your son is qualified to be in that ministry. That is the height of nepotism as a country. When you are looking at the country, how many people are qualified for the same position that you are talking about? And in looking at the petition that was written to the petition committee, you should have looked at it neutrally in a neutral ground. The committees of the National Assembly should be the ground of the country and that is what we want all the committees to. Administration of the GT board without channeling them through Minister, you are expected to know your role, your responsibilities, what you should do and what you should not do, where your powers end and where. I thank you, sir, very much for your.
Because the director of finance at GT board guided by responsibility within their terms of reference. So if you look at this thing, the committee recommendation when you come to a resolution, I think this is very, very important. The committee, that the governing board of GTB must formulate a policy document to address this issue of conflict of interest to ensure the spouse, mother, father, or son and daughter does not participate in board meeting that concerns their interest. I think this policy direction formulation is very, very important. I'm a little bit worried if we can attach timeline to this. If the policy does not address this thing, we need to put timeline. Because if you look at
saying the truth and doing justice to the report, and you are a true hero, and I admire your work very well. Honorable Speaker, the one person who has been adversely mentioned in this report is the Honorable Minister. Repeatedly, there is a limit beyond which he cannot go when you look at it. He has been adversely mentioned. But when you look at the recommendations about this said individual, very, very linear. Very linear indeed. Honorable Speaker, for us to ensure that impunity does not thrive in our offices, we must start holding people to account for their actions. Highly qualified staffs with double masters in social research and economic policy management were penalized, redeployed, just because any minister, whoever is doing it, must wear issues in the institution. In fact, you can stand publicly and admit that. Subhanallah. You don't even care about it. But you do not want that. Vote us out next parliamentary term. We will continue to speak in this parliament, spending millions so that we can be voted out. I don't care about it. But Honorable Speaker, impunity cannot thrive in our offices. Public officers must act responsibly. Not allowing people to pay tax is one of the most dangerous crimes, as alluded to by the Honorable Member for Busumbala. You driving, stopping our our country from development.
May I now call upon the mover to respond to issues and provide any suggestion or proposal, and then wind up the debate.
Yes, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to, the first member that contributed is Talinding, member for Talinding, and he was speaking on Resolution 1. Latrikunda. Resolution 1 is citing that it is negligence because it's a failure on the side of the contracts. And he's saying reprimand is too light. Well, we can look for another word, but the reality is there that we believe that the role played by the Hussein Senghor was to kind of mislead the committee to take a decision. And that's why they have taken the decision they have taken. So the name is Hussein Senghor, the chair of the committee that actually does that contracts. Now, the way we see reprimand is we just saying punishment. But if you are giving us the legal definition of reprimand, so you can give us the right word in there. You also say in 5 that the GT board should pay. We are saying the GT board should supply the contractor so that the contractor can go and do the rest of his work. That's what we are saying, and that should be as soon as possible. As soon as possible. There should not be any delay in that. Otherwise, the contracts will suffer more. You're saying why are we going to the contractor and not to the GPA to ask for, I don't know what you are asking for there. You are speaking very fast. GRA. We're going to GRA. Instead of the contractor should pay VAT. So we've not got information that he has paid VAT, but whatever contracts he has, whatever money he has, he should pay VAT out of that. So we want to ensure that the VAT is paid. That's all that what we are saying. For Janjambure, he's saying it's unfortunate. On land allocation, 5% levy. Yes, the thing is, let's understand that very well. If I am an investor and I need land for investment in the TDA, I apply to the GT board. It depends on the size of the land now. If the land is, for example, 100 by 100 by 100 by 100, and they ask me what am I going to invest in that land, and I said I want to build a 5-star hotel, and then they ask me to give them the cost of the 5-star, and I give them, for example, 100 million. This rule is saying 5% of 100 million, is the levy that I should pay. So what is happening is that the minister comes up with directives and say, okay, you should pay, for example, 5% of 100 million, which is $5 million, but then I will waive 2% for you, or I'll waive 1% for you, or I'll waive 3% for you. That's what this is about. And if you waive it for that person, it means that it is the state which is losing. That's what this 5% is about. So it is not about the size of the land, but it's about the investment that we are putting on the land. So if there is losses there, we are saying, because the minister is claiming that it is the cabinet that authorized him to do that. And we are recommending that that should not happen. Because if I'm investing 50 million and I pay 5%, somebody who has more money and is investing 100 million, you are asking that person to pay only 2%. We are saying that is not fair and it is making the government to lose. So we should look into that. On staff employment, our recommendation is that the staff, not the ones that are dismissed, because of one reason or the other, but the staff that were redeployed to other places because of their complaint or because they wrote a petition to the National Assembly, they should be taken back to their jobs. Because the people we found on the ground, their qualifications are far lower than the people who are punished, taking them there. For example, the one in Basse is a very qualified person. But the ones we found at Janjambure and other places, when these other people left the place, then those people, their positions their qualifications were very low. In fact, some of them did not even finish their studies. For Bakau, he is also talking about staff matters, whether the ombudsman deals with hotels. We are not talking about the hotels, we are talking about GT board staff. And the GT board staff is under the government. It's just it's under the Ministry of Tourism. So the ombudsman, we've employed the services of the ombudsman to look at the staff, the issue of staff. And they've recommended that let the staff be paid all the remuneration they have lost. At some point the minister made a directive and say all the staff should go home. And when they all went home, then all of a sudden they call some of the staff to come and work, and they continue to pay them full salary and full allowances. But the ones that were left there are mainly the people who made the complaint, and they were paid 50% of their income. And we are saying that 50% that is left behind should be reimbursed to the staff for justice to be done. And they should be returned to their work, not to be punished for that. For Serakunda ecologists, a lot of money recommending that that should be looked at. We expect them to be more competent. Let's move on. Ministers interfering, Serakunda West, yes. We've already identified, the report has shown wherever he intervened, and that's why we are recommending that since that is not in the law, the ministers should not interfere and just come and give directives to the board, but should inform the board and discuss with the board, and they agree on the same thing. But what the board is telling us is that this is a directive from the minister. We are saying there should not be any directive from the minister directly led your question in terms of petition. Opasalo, that's the reason why we are giving you this assignment. And we are giving other assignments to the police, we are giving other assignments to the ombudsman, etc., etc. We are a petition committee. I think when we have done our findings, we should be able to give assignment to the competent bodies to be able to solve them. We are recommending to the plenary to give you. That's our recommendation. Yes, VAT. The contractor is supposed to pay VAT. We have no evidence that the contractor has paid VAT. So we are saying every effort should be done. FPAC contact these people to ensure that the contractor, if he pays, that's fine. If he does not pay, we ensure that he pays VAT to government, because that is a requirement in the contract. GPPS should land allocations. There is this question about tropics. It's better to clarify it. You know, the GT board had a contract with a contractor, and they award the contract to the person, and they paid the person to build tropics, and they give land to the contractor, and the contractor built the land. You know, the other parts belong to the contractor, but then they also embed in the contract that the GT board should have a head office in that big building. And then the building is done until it is gone very far, and then the change of government has come, and then a new minister is in the tourism, and then he is the one who gave them directive to abandon that office and have another contract with the contractor to build their head office. I think if you are on Kairawa Avenue, you are going from Kotu, you will see their new head office in that place. So the guy built that office for them. But then what happened to the office that is left at the original building at the tropics is left in the hands of the investor.
Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair.
Yeah?
Yeah. Please put up the mic. If I hear you well, you said the original contract, the land where Tropic is given to them by GT board. And the money to build that facilities also is given to them by GT board. Is that...
When you...
No, please, can you be on record to answer my question? The land was given to them by GT board and the money to build Tropic. Is that correct?
But
yeah, is that correct?
$1,000, and then the contractor also put in his amount. But the land was given to him by the GT board. Now,
yes,
we have to be very careful what we put in record. The question put to you was the money given to Tropics to do that construction was given by GT board to Tropics. Now you're talking about counterpart funding. In your statement, you said no part of it was given by GT board and part of it Tropics. So clear that point, please.
Let's accept that the contract is between the GT board and the investor. The investor had an investment to do. and is provided land by the GT board. The GT board also gave an amount to the investor building his complex. Let him also include their building, so that they will also be part of that complex. Now, which also includes a garage under a parking lot.
Yes.
Now, when the new minister comes, he
before the new minister.
Yeah.
The land at Tropic was given free to the contractor.
Yes.
Plus over $13 million. That's over $200,000.
Yeah.
To build. And now, was that the contract abandoned? And now, who owns the Tropic?
Yes. Now, that is the reason why we are raising the issue. Now, that whole complex, as far as the GT board is concerned, and the minister, belong to the investor. That's what happened. Now, it is the property of the investor.
Including government lands and government monies.
Everything there in that complex now is is owned by the investor. In exchange for building another complex, another office for them. In exchange for building another office for them, can we have order?
Honorable members, order, please. Order.
No, read the report.
Now, it's on the report, we can look at it. In exchange of building another complex.
Another office for them. So we are saying.
The office, was that costed as per the cost of the land where Tropic is, plus our $13 million.
So we are saying that calculation must be done so that we know whether government has lost. Cost-benefit analysis must be done there, so that we know what government has lost. And if government has lost, then we have to take action towards that loss. Because government should not lose. Yeah. Yes, I think it's he's saying sanimentary. I think it's the last person. Well, that's what I was explaining, sanimentary, who is asking about the tropics, how the whole situation has gone. So it's so messy, because you take a contract to a certain level, and then somebody comes and say, add this there, and another time, add this there, and that has created a confusion, which made government to lose in our belief, and therefore we are recommending that let it be looked at. Now for I think it's councillor, minister's son employed. We've interrogated the minister about his son being employed at the GT board. And he believes that it's Bintan Karana. He believes that his son is a citizen and he should be employed in that place. But we put it to him that this is, you will have a conflict of interest, because the petitioners are saying that the guy did not even write an application. He was just employed. And we feel that that is something that needs to be corrected. It should not be something that should continue. That's why we are recommending that ministers should desist. And there should be that. Brikama South, conflict of interest, yes. There is an investor. And that investor, I believe it is his relative who is in the board. I'm coming to that. We should now think together and give a timeline. But we believe that in terms of addressing the issue, when they build the community, we are recommending that all these 5 lodges divide it into 5 lots and give 1 lot to each contractor, so that the work can be faster. The implementation can be faster. But then the GT board decided to go and give all the projects are not even identified where they are going to put these things. So we have all these problems. And that's why we said we need to create a lands committee, some sort of inquiry to be able to put all these things in order. And we have assigned we have signed different sectors. I thank all the members who have listened to the response, and we thank you very much.
Honorable Speaker, motion. Honorable Speaker, motion.
Yes, Honorable Speaker, the minister held a press conference and he was talking about our report even before we are done with the report. The procedure is you lay a report here, it is dated, recommendations are done, but then he called a press conference to make a pronouncement against the report. For us, all that I heard about him saying is that the petitioners are politicians. They are politicians, and he said that they are our. He said they are my colleagues. Bias. They are biased. That they are biased and they are politicians and they belong to a political party that I belong to, and that he had told me to recuse myself from the inquiry because I am from the same political party with them. That is a lie. I don't even know those people. I never knew them before they come before us. That's not true at all. And he has never told me to recuse myself. That's also not true. So I want to be on record that what he has said, that he has spoken to me in any way, is not true. I've never spoken to him anyhow. On that note, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, motion.
I've never spoken to him anyhow. On that note, I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, motion. Very much, Honorable Speaker. Very much, Honorable Speaker.
Motion.
Yes,
Honorable Speaker.
please, member for Latikuna Savage.
Yes, hence the chairperson for the petition committee advised us to give him our ideas on how do we reinforce the resolutions. Here I come with few resolutions so that we can add on to their resolutions. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
No, you said you are a motion.
Yes, I want to come by way of motion, 53K. A motion agreed by the Speaker to be a matter of urgency, and this is very urgent.
Yes, you know you said motion, but you didn't say any motion. You just said.
This is why I'm now rising on 53K.
What is your motion?
My motion is for us to reinforce the resolution adopted by the petition committee before in the plenary. My resolutions are here. My proposals rather. Mr. Usainu Sangor being responsible for misleading the contract committee subsequently led to the award of a contract to a long contractor, which led to the failure of ECO project to be recommended for criminal investigation and prosecution. Number two, the Gambia Tourism Board as a corporate institution cannot be criminally liable, or we cannot only reprimand them. I therefore recommend for the people who are responsible for this criminal act to also be recommended for criminal prosecution. Three, all the variation order of the contract.
Honorable members, please. Honorable member for Latikuna Sabiji.
Yes.
You know, there was this during the intervention. Yeah, please sit down. During the intervention of the chair, during his response to issues, it looks like he suggested that the recommendation be enhanced. I'm not sure if that is the what he want. That's what his committee want first before we give members to go further on proposing amendment. Do we adopt it with amendments, or do we pause now for members to give him those proposals? I'm not sure. That's what we should look at first, so that.
I think you said exactly what I wanted to say. The resolution before us, I think we can approve it with amendment, and then further actions can be taken, but not to just jump and do some amendment on the resolution right now for us to adopt that. I think we can. Yeah, when I am talking, you keep quiet, please. I think what we can do is to is to
that we would adopt the resolution with. I think when we say amendment, not that it's left with the Honorable Speaker, but I think it's definitely, we should not leave it at vague.
Yes, honorable members, I think it will be appropriate if amendments are made, whether now or later, but they should come back to Parliament for plenary's approval. They must not be given cash balance or an open check, because we must also know what amendments are there after our approval for them to go and amend it. Do we approve it with amendment, but they should come back to Parliament on Monday or Tuesday? Or because if we approve that they go and do amendment, whatever amendment they want, it will represent Parliament, and then maybe we may not be privy to those amendments. So, yeah, the member for Janjamure, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Considering the fact that we're going for recess, and also considering the fact that this issue has been dragging for over 2 or 3 years, I just want to appeal to members that we try to expedite this process and also bring sanity to the matter. As such, my recommendation or my proposal will be for we to adopt the report with amendment and bring it forward latest Monday. Such my recommendation or my proposal will be.
Honorable members, now the decision is yours. Monday or Tuesday, or do you give them to go and do the amendment and that's it? Decide. Honorable members, now member for Wuli is and chair.
Yes, because members want to add something or deduct something. So I believe if we are going to do it that way, then any member who feels that you want to add something or deduct something, you should put it in writing and give it to us, so that there is no ambiguity. Okay, thank you. Then any member who feels that you want to add something.
Honorable members, yes, I think we do that, and then because of time, we can give him up to Tuesday instead of Monday. He can bring on Tuesday so that yes, and then we should also know that he is not obliged to accept every proposal from every member. Yes, nominated member Kebalang for. Yes, and then.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to differ with the chairman. You see, we had a precedence in this parliament. I think the COVID-19 report, the resolutions were late here. So there should be transparency in the process. If members have recommendations to improve on these resolutions, I think it's that let them come with it so that we all know. Because as a member of the committee, how do I verify that it's coming from A, it's coming from B? And bearing in whatever we do with regards to this report, let it come here. We all agree on it or we all reject it. But I'll appeal, as proposed by Larikunda Savidi, anybody who have proposals to improve on these resolutions, bring them to the floor, then the committee can go back, do those amendments, bring it to the House for approval. This is, yeah.
Yes, nominated member Kebalang Fofana, that is why in my intervention I said it will only be ideal if amendments are made and brought back, and then the Assembly agreed. They said we will propose, look at it and come back. And I think the general, there seems to be consensus that members will send in their proposal for amendments, and then he will invite the committee, they'll incorporate, but he will not be obliged to incorporate every amendment they receive, and then they come back on Tuesday instead of Monday. I think that's what we agreed. Member for Atikunda, I want to draw the curtain here, but I'll allow you to take the floor once more.
Allow me to take the floor to go with my recommendations or the questions I have for you. Because what I want us to be, I want us to be very clear. When we recommit anything to the committee came back to report to us in this plenary. It is number one for our consumption, number two for our processing, and number three for our information. And how do we react to what they tell. Now, if you decide that we should go back behind the scene and give recommendations to the committee, this is the plenary, this is the final decision-making body. So it's better in the full disclosure of our facts, all the proposals are put in the plenary so that everybody knows this was the proposal. Now to the discretion of the committee to put, in fact, the committee cannot even decide, override the decision of the plenary. So it's better we put the resolutions here, we put our proposals here instead of going behind the scene and give them our proposals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member for Latikunda. That is why, and I have not decided them to do things the way you put it now. In fact, my suggestion was for every member to have input, but they must come back to the plenary. That's what I said. Loud and clear, everybody heard. And I think that's what we agreed on. Now, nominated member Kebalang Fofana and probably yourself now, your proposal is probably to do it now here, and there is proposal to do it later, but to bring it back. So these are the two things on the floor. It's for members. The proposals are: one, to every member who want to improve or enhance, or if you have anything, the objective is to embellish the resolutions. And then, but you can do that through the chair. But they will incorporate every resolution that a number they want to enhance and come back here on Tuesday. We have already established that they'll come back on Tuesday. We agreed on that. But if you and the nominated member are suggesting to do it here, it's not for me. If there are two proposals and the two sides, none of the sides is willing to withdraw, I can put it to vote. But if you agree to submit your proposal and nominated member Kebalang as well to the chair, we incorporate it and come back on Tuesday. There will be no need for vote. Nominated member Kebalang Fofana, what's your position now? Thank you, sir.
No, I just want to clarify. I'm a member of the petitions committee. I wouldn't necessarily submit a resolution. So, I mean, in the spirit that I was speaking, is based on the fact that let resolutions come. It will be up to the members here to accept it or not, and whatever is accepted by the House here is what the committee would go back, make the additions, bring it back to the House for adoption. Rather than receiving the resolutions in piecemeal and coming back here and generating another debate. But if we debate on it here, if someone makes a proposal, we have the right to debate on it as members. We have the right to accept it. We have the right to reject it. Let us finish that process today, so that when the committee goes back, it's just going back to do exactly what the House orders them to do.
Thank you. There are two proposals from the nominated member and member for Latikunda is to do it here now.
What the House orders them to do.
And the other proposal is for members to submit it and come back. They all is the same, because once you are proposing now, you are going to debate on those proposals. And also, if you give it to the chair, you make it easy, incorporate it, we come back and look at those proposals. It's the same. So, Honorable Member, now, do we want us, Honorable Members, before we vote?
Okay, Chair, I've withdrawn my position.
Oh.
Okay, mine is out.
Oh, thank you. Honorable Member Kuna, do you still hold on to your...
I am more committed to my position now than before.
Mine is out.
Oh, thank you. The member for Janjambure, I may reprimand you for interfering with the Honorable Member for Latikunda's position. But it looks like he's alone, so therefore we will allow the... Please, honorable members, please. I will put a question that we will allow the chair and the committee to go back for members to give in their proposal for inclusion on the recommendation and come back on Tuesday. Then we vote on that. The proposal is that the report and resolutions on the petition filed in by concerned staff to the Standing Committee on Public Petitions, both the report and the resolutions, will allow members to put in their suggestion and proposal. Then the chair of the committee will table it on Monday for adoption. On Tuesday for adoption. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. On Monday for adoption. On Tuesday for adoption. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, I want to thank each and every one of you, and of course the members of our staff, and the adjourn until Monday 20. The ayes have it. This assembly now. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. This assembly now stand adjourned until Monday, 22nd July 2024 at 10 a.m. prompt.